Hi, I'm Nicole from Low Income Relief, and today we're going to talk about why you may not have received your food stamps this month. I get asked this question all the time from people who are understandably panicked and worried about how they're going to buy groceries because they didn't get the EBT deposit that they were expecting. And honestly, I get it. I was an EBT user for many years, and when that money doesn't show up exactly when you expect it, it can cause a lot of panic and stress. So let's talk about some situations that may have caused this and what you can do to get your benefits. So just so you know, delays can occur for several different reasons. We're going to go over a lot of the most common ones today, but you will need to contact your local benefits office for assistance, depending on what it turns out to be. So first, the schedule may have been adjusted. This happens periodically. Every state sets their payment schedule, and some of them determine it by birthday or last name or case number or application date or your social security number or any number of different things. So if you've just moved to a different state or if your state has recently changed the rules, you may not have received your benefits simply because it may not be the right day for it now. Also, we often get asked this question on Sundays or on Saturdays or on holidays. So you need to know that those payments that are scheduled for weekends or holidays are usually sent the following business days. So if your deposit date falls on a Sunday, you're going to probably see those benefits the next Monday. If your deposit date falls on a holiday, you're probably going to see that on the next business day. I know it's frustrating. It's just the way that the system is set up. So please, if you're freaking out on a weekend or on a holiday, try to hold on to the next business day before you completely panic. So for more information on that, check the most recent food stamp schedule for your state. You can reach out to the state government office and find out if their schedule has changed or when those deposits are actually due. Another reason that you may not have received your benefits is because you may have missed a deadline. And this one is so frustrating because it's happening to a lot of people. So in most cases, required to recertify or prove that you're still eligible every so often. Usually that's going to be every 6 to 12 months. If you are a senior or a person with a disability, you may qualify for something called ESAP. That's ESAP. I think it stands for Elderly Simplified Application Project. A lot of states are rolling out these ESAP applications for people who don't earn income and only get their income from, say, Social Security or VA benefits. And what the ESAP application lets you do is it lets you go 2, sometimes 3 years between having to recertify, which is great because it really reduces these interruptions that a lot of people experience. But again, you need to make sure that you are not missing any deadlines for your paperwork or your interviews, because if you miss those things, it can cause your benefits to stop. So always check your mail, respond to any mail from the food stamps office. If you are not getting your mail or if you haven't updated your address, that is definitely something that you need to watch out for. Definitely need to keep your address and contact information updated because they don't usually email you. Some states have started sending out text messages, but most of them don't. It's going to come through the paper mail, and you really need to be aware of those things. If you do miss a deadline, the good news is that you can contact your local agency immediately, and you should be able to complete your recertification within the next 30 days, and it should just reopen your case. If it's been more than 30 days, you may have to go through the whole process of applying again, which can be a headache. But if you lose your benefits because you missed a deadline, it's usually pretty straightforward to do that paperwork, jump through the hoops, and get those benefits back. Another reason that is a little harder to control is that the state may be running behind with paperwork. We have seen this a ton over the last several years. What happened was during the pandemic, and I know it's been a while, but during that time, there were a lot of waivers in effect that made it so that states didn't have to complete interviews. They didn't have to worry about recertifications. And so they had this huge backlog built up so that when those things became required again, they had to do all of them. And a lot of them couldn't. A lot of these offices were having staff shortages and technology issues, and that has made it really hard to catch up on those things. Most states have made good progress at catching up, so this isn't so common now. But I know just over the last 6 months or so, we've seen states that have upgraded their technology that they use to track their cases, which completely broke their ability to do this stuff. And we've seen other excuses from other states that just haven't been able to keep up with their backlog because there is a lot of demand for food benefits right now. So if the state is running behind on their paperwork, that can cause you to miss your benefits while they wait to process your recertifications or your interviews. And that's a big problem. So that's one of the reasons why if you get a letter saying you need to recertify, you need to do it right away. Because if you wait till as long as you can and then they have a backlog, it's going to make this worse. If you are stuck in this limbo, there's not a lot you can do about it. You will want to make sure that you talk to the office and make sure that this is the reason you didn't get your benefits. And then you're probably going to want to go watch our other video on 10 ways that you can get free food, because you're probably going to want to connect with some other assistance programs while you wait for the state to catch up on your paperwork. Of course, there are other reasons that your benefits may not be available to you. In some cases, you may not have used your benefits in a while. This is pretty uncommon because I know a lot of us need more in benefits than we're able to get, but benefits will stop if the card hasn't been used for a certain amount of time. Usually that's going to be about 9 months. Or if the balance is unusually high. That's not as common anymore. But if it has been unused for 9 months, they'll usually close it. But again, you're going to see warning letters before that happens. So always check and open your letters from the benefit agencies to avoid missing those notices, because you cannot afford to ignore those letters. Another reason that you may be having this problem is that your account may have been closed. This happens periodically if you don't meet the program terms. For example, if you're considered an able-bodied adult without dependents, and you are required to meet work requirements and you haven't been, they may close your account. If you're suspected of fraud or what they call an intentional program violation, your account may be closed as well. But again, you should receive a notice about that closure by mail. So please check your mail. Now, if your account was closed due to fraud, you may not have an option of reopening it. We have another video on our main channel, Low Income Relief, that talks about what happens if you are caught committing an intentional program violation, and the consequences are really not great. But if you are innocent of any wrongdoing, you can usually reapply and get those benefits restarted even if your account has been closed. Another reason that it may not be in your account is that your benefits may have been stolen, and this sucks. It has become ridiculously common for people to lose their EBT benefits to theft. The fact that we still do not have chips in those EBT cards, and they are still using a magnetic stripe that is incredibly easy for skimmers and scammers to copy, is a terrible thing because it's putting so many people's benefits at risk. If you think your benefits may have been stolen, you need to check your transaction history, because it will show that the money was deposited and then that it was spent. In a lot of cases, people who have had their benefits stolen have seen that money completely drained in under 15 minutes, and it's awful. If your benefits were stolen, it is absolutely critical that you change your PIN immediately and that you contact the food stamps office immediately. Because in most cases, what they're doing is when you swipe that magnetic strip at a card reader, they're copying the card number and the PIN, and they are transmitting it to someone who clones your card, basically. As long as they have the card number and the PIN, they can spend those benefits. So if you contact the food stamps office and you request a different card, you're going to get a different card number. And if you reset your PIN, then that's going to make sure that your benefits aren't just yanked away from you the next time they come in. This is extremely important. Now, over the recent years, we have had a temporary program in place that allows your stolen benefits to be replaced, but there are a lot of limitations on that program. You can only get them replaced twice a year. There are limits on how much you can get replaced. A lot of people have had far more stolen than they were able to get back, but that program was temporarily extended. So as of right now, as I'm making this video, not necessarily as you're watching it, as of the time that we're creating this video, if your benefits have been stolen, you should be able to get at least a partial replacement benefit, but you will need to contact the food stamps office to make that happen. So if you find evidence that your benefits have been stolen, please do that right away. Contact them, try to get that replaced. Now, remember, it is important to stay in contact with the office to avoid benefit interruptions. You need to make sure that you're communicating. You need to make sure that they can reach you with snail mail. I know that a lot of us don't rely on mail for a lot of things anymore. I know from my perspective, like, wish they would email me. I check my email all the time, don't so much check my snail mail, but you need to, because it's way too easy for these benefits to be interrupted and it can cause a lot of problems. Keeping in touch helps ensure that your EBT benefits keep coming in without any problems. So again, I know I have beat this to death. Please read and respond to all the letters you get as soon as possible. And make sure that you notify the office of any changes within 10 days. So that's going to include things like income changes, because one of the things that I don't think we addressed in these slides is that if they find that you've been overpaid on your benefits, they can claw that money back and they can reduce your benefits to offset that. Another thing would be employment changes, location changes, especially. You need to make sure your address is updated. And you should update your expenses and household changes as well, because all of those things can affect the food stamps calculation. And if you're interested in how your benefits are calculated, make sure you go check out the main low income relief channel, because we are about to drop a very informative video on how that calculation works and how you can legally get more in food benefits by understanding that and how it works and how the deductions work. Because I found that a lot of people don't know, and they make mistakes in their paperwork that cost them long term. So we're going to go ahead and cover that in another video here soon, but that one is going to go on the main channel. Anyway, make sure you report your changes within 10 days. Make sure you read and respond to all your letters. Hopefully this video has been helpful to you. If you have other EBT questions, please drop them in the comments so that we can get those answered for you. Don't forget to check out our other videos for more ways that you can save money and get free stuff, and have a great day.